Hey guys, what's up? I know it's been a hot minute since I've been on YouTube, but yeah, life got really busy, but I'm here, I'm alive, and it's a beautiful day outside, so we are going to film this video. Now, in this video, I'm actually going to be comparing my Monstera Albo versus my Thai Constellation. And the reason why I'm doing that is because my friend had actually asked a really good question, and that question was, which do you prefer, Monstera Albos or the Thai Constellation? And quite honestly, that's a really, really good question because if you guys have been following me for a little bit now, we all know that I have history with the Thai Constellation. And this Thai Constellation was definitely a journey. And the fact that it has even put off as many leaves as it has grown as big as it has, is actually very surprising because it's been nothing but a nightmare. So to answer your question, if I had to choose between a Thai Constellation versus an Albo, hands down, the Albo wins. Like, just, this. And yeah, it's this. We'll get to it in a moment. So this Monstera Albo is just, she's beautiful. I'm going to try to take this down and kind of show you how she looks now. But this Monstera Albo was originally a top cut. And yeah, it was originally a top cut. And look at her, just thriving. And, every time I walk past my living room, when I see her, I'm like, wow, I grew that from a top cut. This actually, to be honest with you, I had the mother plant and I was just like cutting her down, and I decided to keep the top cut because I was like, oh, you should always keep the top cut for yourself because it's going to give you, like, the new leaf should be similar in size as the other leaves. Not the case. Totally not the case for this Albo. It actually put off a very small leaf for me, if I can find it. It's right over here. I don't know if you can see it. And if you can't see it, I'll snap a picture for you. But these two were the original leaves. And then it put off this leaf. And I was like, what is that? Very pretty in terms of variegation. But in terms of the size, I was just kind of very disappointed. But yeah, I think the reason why it produced a smaller leaf was because it was concentrating on rooting itself. So I did have to root it, and I'm sure that took away some energy, so it didn't put off like a really big leaf. And I'm pretty sure my hypothesis on that is correct because the other leaves that ended up emerging did grow a little bit in size, but then I ended up having like this one leaf that just had no fenestration at all, and I was like, but why? But eventually it just started to grow, and now it's just flourishing and doing its thing. So this Monstera Albo is just killing it. Also, I'm going to try to turn this around. Look at the aerial roots on this thing. Like, it's actually, the length of the aerial roots is kind of the size of me right now. Like, it's half the length of me right now. So yeah, I kind of want to cut it because it's just dangling, but I'm just gonna let it do its thing. So yeah, Monstera Albos, hands down the easiest to grow once it starts growing. Yeah, I didn't find it to rot as much as the Thai Constellation. So when I had taken a top cut of the Monstera Albo, I just put it in water and moss, mica, off it went. Just kept growing. This Thai Constellation, so finicky. I had actually just broken off like a leaf because I saw that the stem of that leaf, would it be a petiole? I suppose it's a petiole. That was rotting, and I was like, but why? But it makes no sense. Why are you rotting? Like, no one's touched you. But yeah, Thai constellations I find are very finicky. Like, if you were to take a cutting of it, you need to be very meticulous. and let it callus over, because if you put it in like water without it callousing, you run the risk of rotting the stem where you had cut it. And once you've decided what media you want to grow it in, you better leave it in there forever, because if you try switching it out, it's just going to throw a huge fit and it's going to rot, and then you're going to have to start all over. So I actually found that Thai constellations do way better in semi-hydro. So when I first imported this Thai constellation in, I believe it was just hanging out in water, and then I had put it in Leica and ponds. That's what I did. And then I had this bright idea to repot it into the soil, because everyone's like, oh, if you put it into soil, it'll grow and be so big. And yeah, no, all it did was just rot. It just rotted, and I ended up with like a stump. And honestly, I didn't think I was going to be able to grow anything from it, but it grew, and now look at it. So the fact that it's still alive, I'm impressed. Truly, I really am impressed. So yeah, I think my point was, in terms of propagating, taking cuttings from your mother plant, the Albo is way more forgiving than the Thai constellation. I find that it's finicky. You got to let it really callus over, and then you can put it in water and then, you know, let it do its thing. But if you don't let it callus over, you run the risk of rotting it, and that's just what it is. And in terms of just substrate, for media, this one prefers semi-hydro. My Albos, I have some in Leica, I have some in ponds. This is currently in soil. I mean, it's so easy. It's so easy once it starts growing. But yeah, and I guess like aesthetic wise, I actually do prefer the Albo, and I guess it's because the variegation on it is white. It's either white or it comes off like minty, like this one leaf right here. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm gonna have to just throw a picture, like I said earlier. But this one leaf is like just such a good example as to why I fell in love with a Monstera Albo. The variegation is white. You can have some marbling, and it can bleed into some minty parts, but it's different every single time. Whereas a Thai constellation, I find that the variegation is actually more cream color, and it can be pretty sometimes. Like there are, what is it? I have a couple upstairs. They're called like the mint Thai constellation, or no, sorry, the creme brulee, where like the variegation on the Thai constellation is higher. So with that said, it probably has like, probably looks like this, but has more splatters and splashes of variegation. Me personally, I still prefer the look of an Albo, just because it's just, I don't know, it's like more abstract. I mean, they're both abstract, but this is more like speckles and splatters. This one is kind of like throwing paint at the wall and letting it kind of do its thing. I don't know. But I just prefer the aesthetics and the look of a, what do you call it, an Albo. Whereas like a Thai constellation, it really does look like a constellation, like the stars, because of the way it kind of just splatters and speckles out, I suppose. What else? Why else do I prefer an Albo over a Thai constellation? Oh, the way that this grows. Personally for me, I don't prefer the way that an Albo grows. Only because it needs to have a pole. It needs to grow upwards so that it can climb. Same goes for a Thai constellation. However, I think with a Thai constellation, or like monsteras in general, they're supposed to kind of like grow wider. Like it'll grow wider for you, but if you put a pole on it, it'll kind of grow more vertical. And I'm probably going to get a pole for this because, you know, if it grows wide, I don't know where I'm going to put it. So it needs to go on something. But both of them, they do kind of grow vertically. This one, kind of vines a little bit more, I find. Yeah. Whereas this one, it has the potential to kind of like spread itself rather than grow straight up. So I want it to kind of grow straight up. So I will be repotting this guy today, just to kind of get it to figure itself out. But yeah, hair tips for these two, more or less the same. I don't really do anything special to them. They are both in normal room temperature, regular humidity, getting blasted with cold air. But yeah, don't really do anything too special. I think what people should actually be focusing on is the substrate that it's currently in, especially for the Thai constellation. And actually, what I have noticed is that if you can get your monsteras to kind of produce the aerial roots, it's most likely going to produce a new leaf for you. So for this Monstera Albo, I felt like when I had repotted it into this terracotta self-watering pot, I found that it was just like it stunted the growth. And of course I was concerned because I was like, oh no, this is like my most favorite albo. You cannot die. And I like it just wasn't growing for me. So what I did do was I put a syngonium next to it. So I don't know if you can see, but in this pot is my syngonium albo. And I figured, I'm running out of space for all my plants. So let me go ahead and put another plant in here and hopefully it can kind of like just grow. Not thinking anything of it, but where I had actually positioned this syngonium was right behind the like it was on the back of the elbow, and that alone created like a very humid environment because the plants were so close to each other, and it's been thriving and growing ever since. So I feel like yes, you need a moss pole. Moss pole. I'm gonna do another video where I kind of show you what I've been using to stake my plants. But yeah, if you're able to put something behind it to create that humidity and have it kind of like latch itself onto it, it'll just produce more aerial roots for you, and in turn, it'll start giving you more leaves. And that's what I've noticed. Same with this Thai constellation. So I had actually had this closest to the wall. So this was actually growing upstairs with like a dupe Soltech light shining on it, but the back of it was actually very close to the wall, and that created like a humid environment for the plant, and it just kept growing. It kept putting off aerial roots, and every time I saw an aerial root, I was excited because I was like, you're gonna put off a new leaf for me. And I had to peel this back, but there is an aerial root that's just coming out right over here, and it looks like this leaf is kind of pregnant. So yeah, I'm gonna be getting a new leaf very soon. And in terms of like the rate of new growth, way faster. The elbow, so fast. I swear, I think I get like a new leaf every 3 months. Sorry, every 3 weeks. Every 3 weeks, new leaf. This one, I would say about a month and a half, I'll get a new leaf, which kind of sucks, but it's nice when it puts off big leaves like this. So yeah. Yeah, elbows, I find that they grow faster, they acclimate easier and quicker. Yeah, kind of finicky, takes some time, but it'll get there. What else? Fertilizer, they both get the same thing. But yeah. So if you're interested in, or not interested, if you're debating as to which Monstera you should get between the two, and you're a beginner, hands down, the elbow. So easy. Oh, I will say this. If you have a Monstera Albo that is very variegated, and like when I say very variegated, I mean like 80% white, man, you are just asking for trouble, especially if it's your first time. So like, let me digress. If you are interested in a Monstera Albo and it's your first time, please get yourself a plant that is like 50-50 in terms of variegation, because that'll put off like new leaves, variegated leaves at a much quicker rate in comparison to a very variegated Monstera Albo. And I say that because I've noticed that the albos that I had that were like half moons, it just, one, it took forever. And I think it's because the variegation has no chlorophyll, so it doesn't have enough energy to put off new roots, new growth. So if you get yourself a plant that's like more 50-50 in terms of variegation, it'll be able to put off new growth for you very quickly. Also, it's more aesthetically pleasing. You never know what you're going to get. You can get something that's very marbly, more, yeah, just marbly. Sometimes you might get something that's sectorial. But yeah, if you end up with like a leaf that's sectorial and you're hoping to get another sectorial leaf, depending on where that node is, it may continue to give you like half moons all the time, but you do run the risk of ugly leaves. And I say ugly leaves because those whites will turn to brown because it's so variegated. But if you give it enough light and fertilizer, you might be able to sustain it. I just personally haven't been able to do that. Like I have a cutting upstairs that is actually like a half moon. It's produced 3 half moons for me, and the 4th leaf just kind of got stuck and it's just dying. So I'm just waiting for it to bounce back before I show you guys. But yeah, I do find that the Monstera Albos that are 50-50 in variegation grow faster. I don't really experience any browning. But yeah, I think that's all I had to say about the Monstera Albos. High Constellation, great to have. I feel like for me personally, I needed to master it, which is why I have 2 other tissue cultures upstairs that are growing, and they are doing great. I will, film an update for you guys and show you how I'm going to repot it. But yeah, you're thinking of getting a Monstera, a variegated Monstera, whether it's the Albo or the Thai Constellation, please just do your research. Look at the stem. If you're getting a cutting, please look at where the node is located. So if you're getting a cutting and the node, like a mid cutting, and the node is like on a more green side, you're more likely to get more green. If it's on the side that has some variegation on it, you're guaranteed to get some variegation. So that's exciting. But yeah, so if you are looking at purchasing like a cutting, please check out the stem. Make sure that node where it's going to produce the new leaf is on like a variegated side, because if it's all green, if it's on the green side, you're going to get all green leaves. So yeah. But yeah, that's all I had to say for Monstera Albo versus the Thai Constellation. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I will be back again soon, very soon, because everything has grown and I need to repot everything. So the next video will be either an update on the Thai Constellation tissue cultures or whether or not you should use them up. See you guys later. Bye.